it's Georgia Rose, and I am in the soul space. My favorite place to be lately. It seems to be very chaotic outside these doors. Hopefully, it won't be too chaotic inside these doors tonight. I have Bobby in the producer booth, which is really cool. Although I love Carmine. Carmine's not here tonight, so who knows what will happen with Bobby and I here all by ourselves in the studio. Anything could happen. So, I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to come on in. We're live at 7 o'clock, as always, on Monday nights. So, going to let you guys have a few minutes to pile in, and also just want to share the show on all my social media feeds. And I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing. If you have your social media up, if you want to share the show for me, that would be absolutely fabulous. I would love you, love you, love you. We're trying to grow our community here, which is great. So tonight we're going to talk about the Mercury retrograde in Leo, and we're also going to talk about the new moon that's coming out in Leo on Thursday. And these are really important times because you'll see as we go through the show how important this is. This is probably some of the most important days of 2025 because they are the harbinger for what's to come. So I hope you're tuning in and sharing the show. And let's see, you can always comment and call in live too. So just going to tag a few people here. Here we go. Okay. We are live. So I got some really good feedback on the show last week. As you guys know, I had my unboxing a couple weeks ago, and where I merged both my lives, my spiritual life and my earthbound life, where I am a real estate broker in earthbound life, and where I'm here with you guys in the soul space in my spiritual life. And I have to tell you, wasn't sure how that was going to go because I think we're all living in truth right now. It's like someone threw pixie dust of truth all over the world. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And I have to say, the feedback has been so unbelievably beautiful. I have people that I haven't spoken to in a long time calling me up and saying, wow, that was really moving. You inspired me to kind of, come clean about something in my life that maybe I've been separating and categorizing. And it's just been a really, really great experience. So I want to thank everyone out there who's been so supportive of me. And I think as our old institutions and our old systems and the things in our life where we found stability collapse, I think we're going to find all kinds of new places where we find stability and safety. And this has been my journey, and I'm glad to share it with all of you because I think that you help me on my journey. You guys inspire me every day, and hopefully I'm inspiring somebody out there. So we're going to dive right in today. At the end of the show, I'm going to talk to you about my earthbound life a little bit, but let's dive into the spiritual stuff first. So we have a lot of retrogrades in the chart, first of all. So what are retrogrades? Retrogrades aren't when planets go backwards. People always think that. It's not that. Retrogrades are when planets slow down. And when a planet slows down and goes retrograde, it's actually much more powerful. It has more energy. It's closer to the Earth. So we feel it more, and its archetype becomes much more steady and more concentrated. And right now, as I said, we have almost all the outer planets in retrograde. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune. We've got Mercury in retrograde in Leo, which is the one we're going to talk about tonight. So when Mercury goes retrograde, every Mercury retrograde has certain things that are the archetype or the energy of that planet going retrograde. For Mercury, which is our minds and our communication, Mercury retrograde has a reputation of being the glitches. The plane is late. I slept at the airport because my plane was canceled. I got the wrong day when I showed up for my appointment, or I sent that email out to the whole company and it was really just for one person. That's kind of what happens when Mercury is retrograde, generally speaking. But when it's retrograde in a particular sign, it takes on that energy in the sign. And Mercury is retrograde in Leo right now. So what is Leo? Leo is wanting to be seen. The energy of Leo is traditionally the lion. It is can be aggressive, but mostly the reason why that is because Leo wants to be seen and is expressive. It's a fire sign, so it's a very expressive energy. When we have planets in Leo, like we're going to have Mercury and the new moon there, and they're also aspecting a lot of planets, which we'll talk about, that makes us want to speak, communicate, and sometimes in an overly aggressive way. It can make us want to talk too much because it's fire, right? So fire can consume things or it can be very warm and nurturing. It's our choice. So in the next several weeks, while Mercury is retrograde, what we want to do is make sure that we're really choosing our communication style, and also choosing our words carefully and the way we deliver them. We all know that sometimes texting can be the most misconstrued thing in the world, right? So in an energy like this, which is going to be with us till August 11th, you don't want to maybe just do something really quick and then hit send. You want to really make sure you're looking at your communications. And that's the true meaning of Mercury retrograde, wherever it is in the zodiac. Retrogrades think everything with the prefix re. Redo, reclaim, restyle, recycle, retrospective, right? That's retrograde. You want to go within. You want to slow down. And that's the purpose of retrogrades. In Leo, it wants us to slow down and think about what's soulful to us. What is our soul's desire? If you think about the lion as the king in the jungle, he has a mission, right? He's very motivated type of animal. So where is your Leo? Where's your lion heart that motivates you and attaches to a value or a doing or something that you want to accomplish? New moons traditionally are the time we set seeds. They are the times when we set intentions. So with a new moon coming in Leo with Mercury retrograde, maybe part of your intentions can be better communication. Maybe it's please let me be truthful from the heart instead of the ego. That's the lesson of Leo. It means leading with love, not dominance. The power of love is much more better than the love of power. That's Leo in a nutshell. When Leo goes wrong or Leo goes south or Leo's in the shadow energy, they can become extremely demanding, tyrannical, boastful, and arrogant. In the higher octave of Leo, they are a leader with love. It's an energy that can have great bravery and courage and valor. And so we also have the planet Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer is all about our heart space. It's the touchy-feely. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So when Jupiter is there, it expands and makes anything to do with the moon's transits much more heightened for us. So that's why this new moon in Leo with Mercury in Leo is going to feel more heightened. It's one of the most potent new moons that we have this year. It's happening at 2 degrees of Leo. It happens on July 24th, and it will happen around 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in New York, where I am. You can check your local time zone. But it also has a great deal, this new moon, of transits going on with a lot of other signs. And the reason why I say this is the most potent new moon of 2025 is because where it's happening in the zodiac and what comes up for us cosmically, locally, globally, in our personal lives, in our awareness fields, just walking down the street during your day, something you wake up with in the morning, whatever awareness comes into your field. This is a seeding moment for what's going to be in play for the next year. And why do I say that? Because next year, when we have Mercury, next year, in the same place of the zodiac where most of the planets are now, we revisit those degrees and those signs and those areas of the zodiac. But where the sun is in the zodiac right now, Jupiter will be. Okay? So this new moon is really speaking to us and saying, do what you have to do to rewrite your future. Reclaim your radiance, that Leo heart, that Leo brilliance. Reclaim it and put in motion whatever you have to do. Where is it you want to be a year from now? Wherever that is, this new moon is the intention and the seeding of that. This has to do with things that maybe were hidden before, because this new moon is opposing Pluto. And Pluto is the desires of our soul. Pluto reveals things that we keep hidden. Maybe some uncomfortable things that we don't want to look at. Maybe you have some work to do this year coming up in order to reach your full potential. I know I do. I'm working on my book. I'm really writing more. I am organizing my thoughts better in order to do that. And I know by next July, if that book isn't already published and people buying it like crazy, I know it will soon to be by that next July, because I just know it, because I know what the planets are aligning to do for me. and communication, written, rewrite, right? And I'm doing that in the rewrites now. So where is it in your life? And if you need a personal reading, you can go on zenkuda.com and book a reading, and we will pinpoint for you exactly what this next 12 months is asking you and guiding you to do. The lower octave of Leo can be very bold self-expression. Now, in an energy like we have, you can watch last week's show and the week before that, and it'll tell you all about the energy that's in play in the cosmos, generally speaking now. We're in a time when we really are all about finding our truth and stepping into our true authenticity from the inside out, no longer from the externals in the world, no longer being influenced by things that are outside, but now being influenced by the things in our life, inside of us. And when we have an energy in the world like that, and then we have this beautiful new moon, which is aspecting like 7 different planets and Mercury retrograde right there in the beginning of signs, this is all about amplification of that energy. And Leo is a sign about bold self-expression. It's very creative. That's why I'm rewriting the book, because anything now that is creativity or creative, that is what you want to focus on for you. And that's going to be different for all of us. But this is going to stir up all kinds of that. But in the shadow aspect of that, it can be overly bold. It can be drama, people reflecting too much and then coming out and being overly created and thinking something is a really wildly wonderful idea and it really isn't. You'll see some of that going on. But it's mostly about recalibration, because we're in that mode now everywhere in the world. Like recalibration is a huge, huge energy. So reclaiming that radiance. Explore how Mercury retrograde is challenging you. Like, what is the glitch right now? What happened that you had to go back and redo? If you find yourself doing things twice, that is where the universe is telling you, hey, we need you to focus over here. Look over here. Look right here. Yeah. You know that computer that keeps breaking? Well, there's something in there you're supposed to be looking at, or something you're not doing properly. Your vacation's all screwed up. All the days are screwed up and everything's not on schedule. Well, Mercury retrograde is telling you that you have to be more focused on creating your schedule, right? So I'm going to say hi to a few people. Hey, Anne. Hey, Sarah. Welcome to the show. So glad that you're here. I know this time of year our viewership drops off a little bit with everything. Everybody's vacationing. So what needs to be rewritten? What has been coming into your view, your line of focus, your awareness that has been just annoying and uncomfortable? And what it's really asking is, got to rewrite this script. Got to like rewrite the journey. Maybe this isn't the path. Maybe this isn't the correct road. Maybe the road really is going to be a different path, right? And don't be afraid of that, because this is really about making sure that where you're headed to is the right path. And we have these next 12 months to correct, right? Course correct and all that. So this is an invitation to rise from the old story, the old narrative. And that's why it's about reclaiming your inner radiance, that beautiful solar light. Leo is the sun, the solar light, ruled by the sun. So you want to think about, where do I have radiance in my life? What does light me up? And navigate towards there. Set your intentions for those kind of things. There's a lot of people right now that have had their light dimmed. I know for a while I just couldn't seem to hit the mark on some things in my life. And now I've opened up a lot. I think my solar light is stronger than ever. Hey, Adrian, how are you? So I think that if you can tap into what is radiant in your life, what are you really gravitating towards? When I went to do the rewrite on my book, it's based on all of my blogs. I have hundreds and hundreds of pages of blogs. I used to blog every day when I was in my spiritual journey for about 10 years. And I went to reread some of those blogs. And as I read them, I don't even remember writing some of them. And I'm reading them and I'm like, wow, this is like really good moving stuff. Like, who wrote this? Oh, wait, it was me in my time of total reflection. I was watching the Billy Joel documentary that just recently came out. Pretty good, by the way. And it talks about how his music came from like trauma and came from within when things were happening in his life. And this woman who was his first wife, who was his muse. And I couldn't help but think, I always do my best writing when I'm like really in pain. Pain is so creative, right? So maybe that's the gift of suffering for some people. But as I'm reading these blogs, I'm kind of blown away by some of it and thinking, wow, I really got through all this stuff. But it also lit me up. I realized how much I emote and how much healing I get from writing. And so that was a wake up call. And that actually started to happen right around this time. And yesterday was a day because of the synchronicity, I got to spend the whole day with my writing, which very rarely happens these days. And it was on the 20th when all this energy started to be in play. And I thought, wow, this is what they want me to do. Spirit just is knocking on the door. Hey, G, you're supposed to be a writer. That's what they're saying. So that was me, Bobby. I'm freaking Bobby out. I knocked on the table. He thought somebody was here. Who's barging into the studio? So, so I have to have Bobby back on the show. I know you all like it when he's on, but he's shy. He likes to be behind the scenes, not in stuff. That's how I'm getting. I'm going to get like that in my old age. So if you need help finding out where your radiance is, a reading is great for that, whether it's an astrology reading or we go to the cards or whatever it is. I also do soul coaching where, through the astrology and through human design, we can kind of determine what your best things are for your path. So this is really an invitation to revise old narratives. And that's why journaling is so great, because we write our story. We think we don't, but we have all these preconceived ideas and notions and conditioning and just even the things you always say in your head, like, that's not going to go wrong. Oh, no, looks too good to be true. Or, I'm feeling really good today. I hope nothing happens, right? So it's time to rewrite all that stuff. So take a pen and paper and actually dive into some journalism and rewrite it. Meditations are great. There's a woman on YouTube. I'm going to give her a plug. Maybe we can get her on the show. Her name is Lisa Beachy, like beach with a Y. I love her voice. She has the most beautiful angelic and Reiki meditations. And if I listen to a Lisa Beachy meditation, even on a most sleepless night, I never get to the end of it. I'm asleep. And the next thing I know, I wake up and it's the next morning. Just beautiful, beautiful meditation. So you can meditate in silence, which is always suggested, but for deep connection. But if you need to just, get in touch with something, do a shamanic journey, do a meditation. Last week, the show was called The Great Rewritten. We talked a lot about stability and how stability is changing for us all now. Our human DNA is changing with human design, especially in 2027. We go from the cross of planning to the cross of the sleeping phoenix, and everyone is completely on a human DNA level, morphing, really. And so what's going to happen a lot is our stability is going to change because so much of our stability is rooted in institutions and externals and the way we're supposed to be and the proper way and the polished way. And now we're coming into a completely new world of authenticity and living from the inside out instead of the way they told us to be from the outside in. And that's why I call this a reroute and a reboot, because the energy that's coming in now, and I'm going to go through this in a minute, is all about rebooting. And I'm going to explain it. So this new moon comes in Leo. It's at 2 degrees. We've got a lot of planets in the beginning of their signs right now. Saturn, Neptune in the beginning of Aries, going retrograde back into Pisces. We've got Aquarius in the beginning. We've got Pluto. We've got Pluto in the beginning of Aquarius. We have Uranus in the beginning of Gemini. And now we have Mercury in Leo, but we have the new moon happening at 2 degrees of Leo. A new moon is really, really important for, like I said, setting new energy. But this new moon opposes Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius, almost like 30 seconds out of exact. And then it trines Saturn and Neptune at 1 and 2 degrees of Aries. And then it sextiles Uranus at 0 degrees of Aries. So it actually forms what we call in the astrological world a cradle. Now, what do we associate a cradle with? Birthing the baby, right? Birthing, rebirth. So it's almost like the universe has this beautiful energy out there in the cosmos, and they're putting us in this cradle of energy so we can rock ourselves into a new world. We can reclaim our radiance. We can rewrite our narrative. We can redo whatever is not working. And we can reroute in new stability. Because once we find that radiance, that beautiful Leo, sun, soul energy, the inner soul, inner light, once we find that radiance and where we find that in our life and what gives that to us, what situation, what place, what thing, what environment, whatever it is, there's something that sets the fire, right? Once we find that, then we begin to build our lives from that instead of all the things we were told to build our life from. So that's why this is the great rerouting and rebooting. And like I said, it's now from January 20th to January 24th is the most optimal time. Set your intentions, do it all. But now, a year from now, almost to the exact, like next July 18th, 2026, the planets are coordinated in the same degrees of the zodiac, only where the moon is, Jupiter will be. Jupiter is the planet of reward and benevolence. So almost think about like a clock face, and it's ticking 365 days. And when it meets that alarm in 2026, it's going to bring you the reward of whatever you've been doing for the last 365 days. Literally, that's what this energy is like. And then you add to that all the things that I was talking about in the last couple of weeks. This is the most empowering sky that we have had. And Lord knows for the last 5 years, we have been disempowered to the 9th degree. So through reflection is where you're going to find your radiance, especially in this energy, because Venus is also involved in this. We've got some South Node energy going over Venus, which is our memory field. Don't allow whatever comes up in memory. Yesterday, I had that day of complete retrospection and was alone most of the day. And memories started to come up from my childhood that I really don't like to think about. And I started to get a little angry, actually, which has not happened to me in years. And I knew it was the South Node on Venus. And in my chart, it's like happening right on that natal Venus of mine. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, what this is really all about is it's coming into my awareness to give me a new perspective. The universe doesn't want this to be my perspective. It doesn't want the anger to be my perspective. It wants me to go to a new one. So I sat with it. I made myself feel it. And then I could feel my radiance coming back, my light coming back, because I was shedding that light from within on that situation from that memory field. That is a South Node experience. It's heavy. It's tough. It requires bravery and valor to go into the energy, but once you do, it's liberating. The South Node brings us the past for us to liberate from it, not wallow in it. So just remember that when you're going through what we're all going to go through the next few days. Leo is a performance energy. Leo is an energy where in this new moon in Leo, you're going to feel like you want to be on stage, you want to perform. You know, we see performance all around us. This is not a performance. This is where I'm completely authentic. But on YouTube, TikTok, any social media, everybody's performing, right? We're coming into a time when performance will be not so valuable and important to us. I know that's hard to believe for those of you who have teenagers. And presence will become more valuable. In this show, I'm very present. I let it all out. It's vulnerable because I know the journey that I had from my own loss, and I had heavy losses in my life, to my own radiance, my own soul space, the place that I, source my life from because it's such beautiful energy. I know what that journey was like for me. So now I have to talk about it because I want other people to share theirs with me so I can go further. And I want to talk about my journey because maybe someone is still on that beginner road and I can help them. I'm certainly not a savior for anybody. That's not my intention here. It's about integrating and gathering information for wisdom. Because when I was on the path, there were a lot of people, you guys know I call it the army of angels who saved my life. There were a lot of people who gave me information that through configuration, I configured myself through that information. I threw out what didn't work. I threw out what didn't sound right. But I made myself identify with my own authenticity by taking in information. That's what this show is about. Hopefully, we find our soul spaces all together. So the performance aspect is not going to be in play so much in the world in the next few years because it doesn't seem right anymore. We're seeing through it. It's fake. And at a time when AI came through, you're going to see a lot of fake things. We're all going to be asking ourselves constantly, is this true? Is this real? Is this true or is this fake? The reason why the universe is bringing us that energy is because it's going to make us exercise the muscle that is our intuition so that we know what truth is from within us. And that is why my AI is authentic intuition. That is what I go through. That is my AI. That's what everything's written on. That's what this show's developed on. No artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a wonderful, wonderful tool for organizing your thoughts, for gathering information, and then, using that intuitive muscle to decipher what is true, to discern what is true. I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing that the universe gave us to exercise that muscle. But if you don't use it for that and you use it for something else, it's probably not such a good tool. So that's the recalibration. So the Leo energy in this new moon is going to be really heightened for performance. You're going to see people out there putting up videos and doing all kinds of stuff, and people who've never done a video before doing a video. And you're going to see people wanting to perform and act out and be expressive and creative. And there's going to be so much of that in the world. But what Leo energy really wants us to do is be authentic and find the inner radiance and the inner soul light. So just, remember that whenever it comes up for you. Anybody feeling that out there? Let me see in the comments what you're feeling. So, especially in this Mercury retrograde, make sure that you are revisiting how you speak, how you communicate. And that's going to be a running theme for the next year and years to come with Pluto in Aquarius, because it's going to be a lot about how we communicate and how we speak. Uranus in Gemini also is that way. And we spoke about the difference between performance and presence last week. So another tool that we can use for soulful recalibration is not just journaling and meditation, but also breath work. You have to have a really good relationship with your breath. And I very rarely use words like you need to, you have to. I very rarely use those words. I often say if it feels right for you, if you're called to, because I'm such a believer in us being independent and free. But I'm going to say you need to in this aspect, because you need to have a really good relationship with your breath. And if you don't have a good relationship with your breath and you're not breathing properly, you're really going to become deregulated, and it's going to be very hard for you to recalibrate in the energy that we have in the world right now. If you think about it, the relationship that you have with your breath is the most important relationship you can ever have in your life. It's the first thing you do when you are ignited into this world, and it is the last thing you do when you are extinguished from this world. And those are the words that I use deliberately, because that's what it really is like. So if you don't have a good relationship with your first and last alpha and omega breath, you're living in between those times, whatever many years or whatever you're on this planet for, not in sync, not in alignment. So we align through the breath. So think about breath work. There's plenty of things online. If you go to yoga, look up the breath work classes. Breath work is extremely important for alignment. Most of the time when people go through any kind of transition where they're trying to really awaken spiritually and they do breath work, the breath work brings them into their intuition like that. It's like the magic pill that everyone looks for and no one takes the time to breathe. Simple, right? But the other thing that you can do, and this is really interesting, and it's great for Leo energy, because like I said, Leo is that wants to perform, wants to be seen, right? So, and many of us grew up in generations where we weren't seen, right? It was like, go downstairs and play, go upstairs to your room, weren't seen. So in this energy, sometimes those old wounds can come up. So mirror work is really, really great. And what mirror work is you sit in front of a mirror. I remember years and years and years ago when I first started to do this, it was so uncomfortable for me to look at my own reflection. I just felt almost like out of body when I would do it, because I had such association. And sit in front of the mirror and like really see yourself, and almost as though you are the observer, and then give yourself beautiful affirmations and look right in your eyes and just, say, I really love you. I'm really grateful for you. I wouldn't know what to do without you, and have that mirror. It's almost like a meditation. Sometimes you'll cry. Sometimes you'll smile at yourself. Always end your mirror session with a smile. Okay. But mirror work is beautiful, and it really awakens you, because a lot of times we're living and we're not including ourselves in our life. And when you do a mirror exercise or mirror work, all of a sudden you feel alive and you're part of your own life. And it's especially good if you're running around and you're really distracted and stuff. So Sarah says today was a hard day. Past couple of days, finally just decided to give in and be still for the day. Luckily I could. Yep. In this energy and the energy that we're gonna have in play probably until the end of the year and the beginning of next, we have to take time out to be still. There's a lot of energy in the stillness that's going to come to us in awareness and really make us feel better. But this energy that's in play right now for the next couple of days can make us anxious and can give us that feeling of some impending doom, almost like something's going to happen. It's really, really kind of unsettling. I now am, well versed enough that I can understand what's global energy and what's my own energy, and I know there's a lot of global energy right now out there. And that's why, Zenkuda teaches us that we have to live soulfully and not take on so many things about the world. It's about living your life not loud but true, right? A big difference. That's Zenkuda. That's living Zenkuda, living truth, not noise. And in order to connect with the truth of that, we have to be in stillness. So you might have felt better after you did that, Sarah. I've been trying to spend a lot more time in stillness, and throughout the day, taking time to be mindful and go into stillness. An affirmation that we can use in this beautiful new moon is, I honor my light. I speak my truth. I reclaim my radiance. I honor my light. I speak my truth. I honor my radiance. And you can even say that to yourself every morning in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. Ritual, because Leo is the sun and solar light. You want to light a candle. You want to write down a story that you're ready to rewrite. Just like myself, I had a different perspective when I sat in the story. And speak it aloud. Again, Leo's the performer. When I started to read my blogs and rewrite and recalibrate them and reform them last night, I actually started to take my phone out and speak into it and read to myself. Because I wanted to hear what it sounded like in my own voice so I could get a handle on the feeling. It was a beautiful experience. I never did that before. So speak it aloud. So you light a candle, you write down a story you're ready to rewrite, speak the story aloud, read what you read, then get ready to rewrite it. And then just let the flame carry your intention into the cosmos. You blow out the candle. So that's a beautiful ritual to do. And we'll tell you, when you speak, I'm not into any kind of dark magic or Wiccan or anything like that. Power to whoever wants to do that is fine. I have no objection to whatever puts you in light. But when we speak things, and that's why sometimes I don't want to put certain words out into the universe. When we speak things, it's a spell. Our words are powerful. They're energetic. There's a beautiful woman who works with water, Veda Austin. Look her up. Amazing. I have her book. I gifted one of my friends her books. She works with water, and she will speak words, and she will also have a picture next to a glass of water. And the water, through her way she photographs it, will take on the shape of either what the spoken word is or the picture next to it. What we speak, our communication is energy. So when we speak out into the world an affirmation, it's like casting a spell that's going to happen. So think of it in terms of that. If you're going to speak your intention, that this Leo new moon isn't just a reset, it can be a roar, right? Like that song by Katy Perry, little spark, right? So after you do that and you speak your intention and you let the candle, carry it to whatever creator is for you, let it echo through the heart. Like really feel your heart space, whatever meditation you're doing, because Leo is heart energy. So if you can keep that energy into the heart space and then send it out into the world, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. And it'll help you to keep shining from the inside out, because now your light is in connection with the light of the world. So really beautiful ways that you can reboot and reroute. So a couple of other things. Here's another one of another affirmation. I shine from truth, not performance. I root in soul, not survival. That's a great one for anybody who's having things come up from childhood or from, past life. I root in soul, not survival. I think that's a great one. And this is also basically, Leo is in the most basic form about self-sovereignty. It's about owning your power within, that king of the jungle, the sovereign. Our sovereignty is when we make decisions from our heart space, our radiance inside, and we're not swayed by that. It's the boldness of our own self-expression in a really healthy and right action way. Just looking at my notes down here. This is about reflection, as we said, review. Also, things will come up for review. It's a powerful time for our internal work because we're going to reevaluate our authentic self. And I think we touched on that enough. So a couple of other things. What to avoid. I know you guys all out there, you negative Nellies, want to know what to avoid. Okay. So expect delays because Mercury's in play in retrograde with this new moon. So that's going to heighten the Mercury retrograde, which is in play, I believe, till August 11th. Expect delays, so make sure that you are leaving time. Back up all your tech files, especially with Uranus and Gemini in the beginning of the signs and all these things. We're trining Uranus we're sextiling Uranus and we're trining things and I got to look at my notes. Yeah, we're sextiling Uranus and we're trining Neptune and Saturn. So also expect flooding. Yeah, flood's going to happen in the world, or some tectonic plate kind of thing, volcanoes and earthquakes, because the energy is shifting so drastically that it also will, be mimicked in the earth. But you definitely want to back up your stuff, because this is like with Uranus in the sign of communication and Mercury in play here with this new moon, it could be very glitchy on the computer in front, and back up your files. Focus on long-term solutions because of the energy, the way it's repeating in the end of July next year. Edit your ideas. Make sure that you're editing yourself. You're checking your posts. Do I really want to say this? What do I hope to accomplish by saying this? That kind of thing. Revisit conversations and put some creativity in them. Think about new ways that you can say stuff. Hey, Aaron, how are you doing? How's Bella? We're all saying prayers for Belly. Belly is a new dog that Aaron got. You want to not sign major contracts until after the 11th of August if you can avoid it. If you do have to do it and it's looking good, make sure you read everything twice, maybe even 3 times. Try to not start new ventures. Now, new ventures, if it's something you've been working on for a while, it's probably okay, but read the fine print. But you don't want to start any new stuff. Oh, Bella's hyper. Good. She's getting better. Bella's better. She's hyper. Walk away in Leo, because Leo, when you go into an argument with Leo, it's the lion. It's going to want to win. So if you're a Leo or anybody's a Leo around you, don't argue until after August 11th. And don't rush into groups like you want to join a group. Ooh, that looks good. Ooh, this looks good. Or social stuff. Oh, I have to go to that party. I have to go to this party. I have to go to every party. No. Don't do that. In this energy, you'll want to do that. We'll crave that because it's Leo and Leo likes to be on stage. But with all the energy that's in play right now, there's going to be a lot of conflicts. When we have an energy of a new moon opposing Pluto, and we've also got, which I didn't even talk about, Mars in this broadcast, which I'll go into in another video. Definitely don't think that running to parties and being a party animal is a good idea, because there will be conflicts. So brief mentioning for all signs. If you are a Leo, this is going to be about your self-image, your approach to relationships. If you're a Taurus, family roots and reconciliation. Scorpio, it's going to be about your career goals and your legacy, your public image. Aquarius, it's going to be about partnerships and emotional reciprocity. So I hope you don't have any unrequited love there. Gemini and Virgo, Mercury rules your sign. So this Mercury retrograde for you, you're going to feel the communication and mental clarity, but it could also go the other way where you are feeling the glitches, So make sure that you are doing what has to be done to put yourself in a good light. Okay. So that's for my stuff. Okay. So now those are the signs most affected. Everybody else, just do what I told you to do in the beginning of the show. You'll be fine. So Sarah, that's why you're feeling this energy so heightened, because you're Leo. Yeah. So those are the things to avoid. And also, I'm going to tell you guys, and you won't read this anywhere, but don't get your tattoos. If you're thinking about getting a tattoo, wait until after August 11th in this energy, because with all these planets retrograde, you are not going to like the tattoo. You may like it for a couple of days after you get it. Same with cosmetic surgery, new haircuts, new hair color, new wardrobes. Don't do anything aesthetic until after this Mercury retrograde, because it can really be a lot of energy that you're going to think something's great, and then it ain't so great. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about, just looking at my notes, bear with me, guys. There's a lot going on in the world. So I want to talk a little bit about this new moon trining Saturn and Neptune, because Saturn and Neptune are such different energies. We talked about it in last week's show. So Saturn is the structure of our lives, the containers we live in. How is our day structured? How is our life structured? What is our culture? What is our religion, et cetera, et cetera. And Neptune is the no boundaries. So Saturn is the structure, the container, the pillars that hold up the building. And Neptune is floating in the water. That's the best analogy I can give. So when those two planets come through, that's why some astrologers say, well, it's a wall of water. And that's why we've seen all these flooding and things happening, because this energy's been with us for a little while, and it'll stay that way for a while. And it's going to play back and forth with the retrogrades and the direct motions until next spring, when we have an exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. But think about where you need to be more fluid in your life, because this energy is very, very fluid. It's a fluid energy. It's like trying to hold water in your hands, or grab water. You can't do it. Although we want the structure, we want the order. So one of the things that's very important in this energy is to look for the structures that are healthy and authentic, that you can, structure your life on, and that's the container you truly want to live in. But also remember to stay fluid, because where we're at right now is not going to be where you're at a month from now, 2 months from now, and it's absolutely not where you're going to be at next July. So try and remain fluid in the decisions you make. Leave room. It's like when we were kids, we used to have something called a multi-purpose room. And it could be like a guest room. It could be the craft room. It could be the place you went and watched TV when nobody wanted to watch your show, depending on what you wanted to do. This is a multi-purpose energy. So don't structure yourself so deeply and into so much stuff that you become rigid. This energy, if we do that and you act rigid in this energy, it's going to backfire. This isn't like, one of the things I need to rewrite is, I've never been responsible here, and now you're going to go responsible in the extreme. It's not that energy. It's an energy where you want to approach things with discernment, to put a little more structure in your life that's healthy, while still giving yourself permission to be individual and listen to your inner radiance, your inner light, your soul space, to be the best potential you can be, to be the best human you can be, to really live in your own light. This isn't about dimming your light. It isn't about overworking. It isn't about deadlines. Like even me with my writing of the book, like I'm not putting any pressure on myself or any deadlines, because I know in this energy that would really, really be a bad thing to do, because it's going to backfire. It's going to make you go back to the drawing board, because that's not what this is trying to teach us. It's trying to teach us where the fluidity is in our life within reason. We can't have no boundaries, right? If Neptune wasn't held in by Saturn, it would just flow out into the universe and no one would know where the heck Neptune was. So Neptune has to have the orbit of Saturn to keep it. That's the energy now. Fly with the angels, but come home to your stability. It's like one of the things I loved about being married was, when my ex was supportive in the good years, I had the ability to really come into my full potential, knowing I could always go back to the nest. And I felt like he had that as well. We really supported each other. Then life came in and that changed, and then it wasn't a good place for me to be anymore, nor him. But that's the energy. It's like, go out into the world, do you, be your own individual self, but make sure that you have a stability in your life that is built on your structure, on your likes, your true authentic self that will never leave you. And that's the home within. And that's that beautiful Jupiter in Cancer energy. The crab carries his home on his back. That's what we have to do, is carry our home within. So make sure you're doing those things. So one of the things that I love is the connection that happens in energies like this. With all these planets in the beginning of signs, we're all in a very new energy. And when we humans are all in something new, we have a tendency to kind of go towards each other because we want connection, because something feels new. We don't feel connected. We're looking for ground. So we go towards each other and connect. And I love that in the world, and that energy is so heightened. But no matter what I've been doing in the world, whether it's in my real estate career or my spiritual career, it's always been about connection, because that's really all we have. I mean, no one ever goes on their deathbed and says, oh, I wish I bought the red Corvette. No, it's all about our connections. That's all we have, is our soul connections. So recently, a little while ago, I sold a beach house, and I have a picture of it if Bobby wants to put it up in my real estate, my earthbound life. I sold this beach house, and it was really beautiful. It wasn't just that I got to go to the beach in, it was like February time. So I got to go to the beach in winter, which is always one of my great things. And that was really nice. But it was the family I sold it to. This couple, Jen and Zach, had bought a house from me about maybe 5 years before. And they were like getting engaged to be married and starting their life. And they bought this beautiful colonial. And then they're so loyal to me because we have a connection. I did the right thing for them as a realtor, and they stuck with me, and they have referred people to me. And so they called me up and they said, we saw a house out at the beach and we think we want to buy it. So I said, oh, you're selling the house that we bought it 5 years ago, whatever. They said, no. They said, Georgia, this is a house that we just wanted for a second house. And Zach works very hard. He's a businessman. So here's a picture of the house. They bought this beautiful house out at Gilgo Beach, and there was some glitches with the sale, but we navigated them. It overlooks the bay with a 360-degree view of the ocean and the bay. Just beautiful, beautiful house. But the most important thing about it was when I met them again after 5 years, and I stayed in touch a little bit now and again. You touch your clients, but I hadn't seen them. They pulled in and they had this beautiful little boy named August. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see their life and feel so connected to that part. And, selling them their first home together and starting their life in one place. And now here they are in their summer home with their baby and going to have such beautiful, beautiful memories there. And that's life. It's not the house. It's not the bricks and mortar. That's beautiful. I get them the best deal. I can negotiate the greatest price. I can do all those things. That's what I do. That's my earthbound life. I have myself in service to the world that way. But at the end of the day, it's those pictures we take on the front porch. It's that ocean breeze that just comes through and you're like, wow, this family is going to absolutely have some amazing, amazing soulful memories here. And to see their little boy on the beach and all those things. So that's real estate. It's real. And that's what I do. So thank you for tuning into the Soul Space. I hope you'll also call me if you need to sell a space in your soul space. And whether it's through real estate or through the Soul Space podcast, I hope that I'm helping you connect to your soul space. I'll be back here next Monday night at 7 o'clock. If you need a reading, zenkuda.com. And you can find me on all social media and podcast platforms. Have a good night, everybody. Book a reading or coaching session with me. If you go on to book a reading, you can actually book a reading for any session that you really would like to have. For instance, a 1-hour astrology chart reading, a tarot card reading. I also do synastry chart readings for couples. And I can also do a long distance healing meditation and Reiki session. And you can even purchase our Circle of Light Oracle cards, which were created in order to put healing and light into your day. So book your reading at zenkuda.com.